Hi, this is Dr. Fab Mancini, and I'm so excited to be with you on this video because we're going to be discussing today how to embrace change. You know, one of the things that is a funny story when I first became president of Parker University, I did something. I read a book that was called "Who Moved My Cheese," and this book was so profound to me because it had these stories about how change is inevitable. It's something that is going to happen in life. So what I did is I bought it for every one of the employees at Parker University, and I actually wrote a note, a personal note for all employees. There was over 300 employees, and I said, that if you embrace this concept, if you embrace change in your life, and if you embrace change in this institution, we're going to be very successful. And it's exactly what happened. I created a culture that embraced change. So I want to share with you at least 3 things that I've discovered in my lifetime that has allowed me to embrace change, that has allowed me to be able to see change as a good thing rather than a bad thing. And the first one is to ask myself always, why is this change happening? You see, I realized in my life that nothing is really meant to be there forever. Things change because it's a way for us to get out of our comfort zone. Things change is because it's helping us face a reality that we have become dependent on someone else or something else, or maybe face the fact that we need to push ourselves beyond what we think we're capable of. And sometimes change is what does that. Sometimes change is very positive, and it can be just as stressful when it's negative. But at the same time, we know that there's a purpose, right? So ask yourself a lesson. If I'm the creator of this change, and this is what I do, this is the exercise that I've always done for myself, is that if I'm the one creating this change, even though sometimes I feel that circumstances in our lives are the ones creating the change, or other people in our lives are the ones creating the change, or perhaps, things that we have no control over are creating the change. In reality, if we think of ourselves as the creator of this change, right? And we only have our best interests at hand, right? Because we love ourselves, we want the best for ourselves. So how would you look at that? And if you have a hard time doing that, then imagine that the universe is creating this change for you, that God is creating this change for you, and they only want what's best for you. They want to be able to help you become what you're destined to become. So if you were the creator, how would you look at this? How would you look at this change? And what would you say to yourself? Yes, maybe I have been a little bit too complacent, or maybe I'm getting a little bit too relaxed on my position, or maybe I'm not as creative as I used to be, or maybe I'm not enjoying this role anymore when it comes to my work, or maybe in this relationship I've hit a plateau that I just don't feel that we're meant to be together anymore. Whatever the case may be, ask yourself the question, why is this change happening? And you're gonna get the answer. The second thing that I usually do is that I always look for the positive. I have come to recognize in my life that every change is for my benefit, even if it could be painful, right? And many of you know I lost my older brother at a very young age. I lost my father at a very young age. I've been through challenges professionally and personally, just like all of you. But at the same time is this, I always ask myself, what is the positive in this? What can I learn from this? Because sometimes I learned that even if I just get one thing out of it that is positive, one lesson out of it that is positive, one golden nugget that is positive, I know this change has definitely value in my life. The last thing that we want is that when we don't look at the positive and we focus on the negative, guess what happens? The law of attraction tells us that when we focus on something, we expand it. We manifest more of that in our lives. So why would I want to look at change in a negative way? Why not embrace it as a positive thing, even though it may be painful at times, right? Even though it can be a little bit very stressful at times, but I want you to embrace it as a positive thing. And I want you to know this, that in my life when I have done this, I have always found a positive. Now I'm going to be honest with you, it may not happen right there in the moment. It may not happen a week later, it may not happen even a year later, but I'm going to find it. And when I find it, I realize, so that's why that had to happen. See, I live by a rule that says that every change in our lives, every experience in our lives is only a preparation for the next one. So I know that every change that's happening, it's got to be a positive for me. It's got to be part of my journey. And when I embrace it, then all of a sudden I'm able to cope with it. I'm able to deal with it in a very positive way. I'm able to respond to the change in a very constructive way rather than destructive way. And the last thing that I do is that I realize that change is meant to be part of my life. It's not only positive, right? But it's meant to be part of my life. It's part of my destiny. Just like anything else that happens in our life, just like growing older is part of my destiny, just like maybe relocating from place to place is part of my destiny. You know, all these changes in our lives, whether it's personally or professionally, I want you to know that it's part of this continuum, this part of this continuum we call life. You know, life is an everlasting changes that are happening in our lives. Some of them are minor changes that are happening on a daily basis, but also some of them are big changes that happen sometimes and we think it's wow, it's gonna wipe us out, it's gonna be so strong that I don't know if I can handle this. And yes, I know some of us have even gotten to the point that we got sick because of it, or that perhaps we become maybe with tendencies of suicide because we just think we can't cope with the change. Now, how many stories have you heard out there? How many books have you read out there? How many movies have you seen out there that just when somebody thought that they couldn't cope with their change is when really the lesson came about, that they got to understand why this change had to happen, that the blessing was just around the corner, but many of us just wanted to give up. I'm encouraging you, I'm begging you not to give up. I'm begging you to look at this change as part of your life, as part of your process, as part of your aging, as part of your evolution into the person that you were destined to become. I want you to know where you are right now is not where you need to be. Where you are right now is only part of the journey, right? You're in this moment right now and embrace it, love it, treasure it. But know that tomorrow is going to be a little bit different. And next week is going to be even a little bit more different. And next year is going to be even a lot more different because now you learn the secrets of how to embrace change. And listen, if you like this video, I want you to please subscribe right here on the link right here, because I want you to make sure you get the reminders every week that I'm going to have a video just like this to give you some insight, to give you some tips on how to cope with this thing we call life. The second thing is I want you to go to my website, drfabmancini.com, and I want you to put your name and your email address because I'm going to send you some great things from time to time that I only send through my people on my database. And lastly, I want you to go to my Facebook page and also go to my Twitter page and friend me and like me. Why? Because I want to stay connected with you. I want to see what you're doing and I want to share with you what I'm doing. And you know what? I may be in your hometown and we can connect and maybe see each other. I may be having a presentation or a special thing that I'm doing that I want to invite you to. So just stay connected with those three things and I know that we're going to stay part of this journey. I want to thank you for inviting me to be part of your journey, and I want you to know that I invite you to be part of my journey. I love you and I can't wait to see you on the next video.